Good morning and welcome to We Are Soccer, the show that talks about pro soccer, youth soccer, and everything in between. I'm your host, Craig Hearn. All right, as usual, lots to get to. Not only do we have the Champions League final today, but there's lots of news from this week we got to talk about and lots of things coming up. So, what do we have on today's show for you? Today specifically we have Champions League final, Europa League final, FA Youth Cup final, end of the year English Premier League awards from We Are Soccer, some great youth soccer goals you have to see, and much, much more, including some Euros information for all those viewers in the U.S. All right, so stick around. Make sure you're here for the whole show. We got lots to cover, and it should be a good hour for you. All right, right off the bat, thank you to some friends real quick. Without you friends, this show doesn't happen. So Detroit City FC, big thank you. Michigan Jaguars, Tim Merritt, Ross Mortgage, Superior Family Dental, and Next Level Training. Thank you, friends. Very much appreciate the support over the last couple of months and moving forward. All right, shout outs. I love to do shout outs at the beginning, let everybody know. I got some personal shout outs. I got some shout outs we'll give to some clubs, but right off the bat, Tom Farrow and the MSYSA, that's the Michigan State Youth Soccer Association, they've been doing such a wonderful job in the past year keeping the kids safe and having to navigate through the health mandates and everything for kids to play soccer. Tom Farrow, MSYSA, and the staff there have done an absolutely phenomenal job. They partnered with the University of Michigan Health Department this past year because they weren't getting much help from the state health department. So Tom and his team at the MSYSA partnered with U of M Health to figure out the best way to get kids back on the field. There's a really nice article about this and what Tom and the team did. We've shared it on the We Are Soccer Facebook and on the Twitter. Go ahead, give that a little read. Very interesting. I can't recommend Tom and the MSYSA enough. Such a good group there and all they do. All right, real quick, what we're going to do is we're going to jump in. I'd like to throw out some congratulations and some shout outs to a lot of the league winners. It's a little unusual, I understand that, but this helps you guys understand who won the leagues and kind of where those teams ended up. All right, so we all know Manchester City, English Premier League champions this year. Congratulations. Probably the best team in the world for the majority of this year. They play in the Champions League final later today, as we know. All right. Athletico are the Liga champions. They outlasted Real last weekend. Real Madrid, Barcelona, they just kind of seemed to stumble towards the end of the season and just couldn't get it done. Atletico stumbled a little bit, but a lot less than the other two. Atletico, proving once again that one team's player who they deem not good enough to play anymore is another team's treasure. Suarez gets to leave Barcelona on a free, joins Atletico, becomes Suarez of old, scores goals left and right, helps that team to the La Liga championship. Well done, Atletico. Inter Milan, Serie A champions. A lot of news coming out of Inter. We'll get to that in a little bit, but Inter Milan did win Serie A. Bayern Munich, Bundesliga champions. I mean, that's kind of inevitable, right? The Bundesliga, they're the power horse. They deserve it. They deserve it. The best team in the division, right? By far. They wouldn't have been able to do what they did without a one Robert Lewandowski. Big shout out to Robert Lewandowski and congratulations for setting the new scoring record in the Bundesliga. It stood for 50 years. Gerd Müller, and I say a Gerd Müller, the Gerd Müller, legendary German soccer player, held the record of 40 goals in league play for 50 years. I equate that to like Babe Ruth's home run record, Hank Aaron's home run record. Those records stood for years until other players came along, right? Robert Lewandowski steps up and he hit 41 goals. And he didn't get to play in the full league, 36 games. He could only play in 28 because of injuries. Huge, huge record. It could be another 50 years before that record's broken. I can't state it enough that it's it is a very big deal. So the Polish wonder, Robert Lewandowski, congrats and big shout out to him. A shout out for my club, why I'm wearing the jersey today. Aston Villa, congratulations, your U18 team won the Youth FA Cup this past week. They played Liverpool 2-1 in the FA Cup final. This game, it might have been 2-1, but it shouldn't even have been that close. Villa dominated, as they have done all year. And why do I bring this up? One, obviously, it's my club, so yes, I get to talk about Aston Villa, and there's not too many opportunities I get for that. But this is a big deal. There's a lot of homegrown talent in that U18 team, and two of the players have actually made appearances in the last couple of weeks in the first team. You guys probably know about a lot of the big clubs like Chelsea and Man City and Man United and Liverpool, and they go out and buy, you know, 50, 60, 70 million, $80 million players when they need a role. Aston Villa 10 years ago put a large chunk of money into growing their youth system, their youth academy, and it's paying off. It's paying off big time. There are 3 or 4 kids on this club or in this team within the club who are going to make it through to the first team. And as a business, that's what you want, right? If you want to put some money in and grow your youth up and get them into the team like that, rather than going out and spending $80 million on a player. And by the time these guys get to the first team, which was in 3, 4, 5 years, players could be $100 million at that point. So Aston Villa doing a very nice job there. So big congrats and big shout out to my club, Aston Villa, for the youth FA Cup winners there. All right, let's jump in to some quick world soccer news. This segment is brought to you by my friend Tim Merritt at Ross Mortgage. If you need help refinancing, if you need help with a mortgage, give Tim Merritt at Ross Mortgage a phone call. Just a super good dude, super knowledgeable, loves to talk soccer as well. So big shout out to my boy Tim Merritt. All right, the coaching merry-go-round continues. It wasn't just in the Bundesliga it happened. It started happening all over, as we know. As soon as seasons come to an end, coaches leave, coaches get fired, players move. It has started. The big ones this week, Zinedine Zidane, Zizou, resigns from Real Madrid. This is, if you had your finger on the pulse, you kind of saw this coming a little bit. Second time back at Real here, he saw the writing on the wall. He doesn't see there's a lot of money to be spent, and he has an aging squad. There's a lot of players that need to be shifted out of that club. The future is not quite as bright as you would think or would hope as a Real fan. So Zizou sees the writing on the wall, doesn't want to take part in a rebuild, doesn't want his record tarnished, and just leaves. It's a big deal. One of the stats I have written down here is that Zizou averaged a trophy for Real Madrid every 24 games. So every 24 games, he picked up a trophy. He missed out on the La Liga title this past week, as we talked about. A couple of weeks ago, they started to stumble, and he just couldn't stop that. They played very well in the Champions League semifinal against Chelsea, but ultimately were beat there. So Zidane leaves. Where will he land? Well, there's a whole host of openings. I assume he'll land somewhere in Italy, but we will see. Antonio Conte leaves Inter Milan. Before he left Inter, I do want to read this little quote I found. So Inter won the Serie A title, as we talked about earlier. And he was asked who he dedicated the win to. Antonio Conte said, "I dedicate this win to myself because it was so hard to get through this year." I don't know. No words can describe who dedicates a win to themselves, especially the coach who kicked all the soccer balls and saved all the balls, right? Very strange from Antonio Conte. Rumors have come out that he was very unhappy at Inter. Him and the board didn't get along. There was some arguments. We're hearing now that they're actually broke and taking out loans. So Inter Milan in a lot of trouble. Another coach, Antonio Conte, who didn't want to be part of a rebuild after they have to sell players to make money back. So just like Zinedine Zidane, he left. There was a small report in the press yesterday that Tottenham have offered Conte the job for £17 million a year, and that's why he left, and they're negotiating now. I don't know how much I believe that. We'll have to see. We'll have to see what happens there. Andre Pirlo at Juventus was fired this past week, and Allegri has now been installed as the Juventus manager there. Great, Allegri. Let's forget about that for a little bit. The Andre Pirlo situation should never have actually come about. He was originally put in place as the U23 manager for Juventus, and all of a sudden elevated, before a ball was even kicked for those U23s, elevated to the first team manager. He lacked experience. He lacked guile as a manager. Absolute magician on the field, one of the best midfielders you'll ever see. But not. It was very apparent this year that he just wasn't ready to coach at that level. So shame on Juventus for trying to put him in a position that he could. I hope he can go to a lesser club and get some experience. I do believe he'll be a good manager one day, but he needs experience. You can't just jump into a top-level club. We saw that with Frank Lampard. Lampard did a very nice job at Derby County, but then jumped in at Chelsea. And it kind of just went off the rails a little bit, and he kind of folded under the pressure. It is what it is. So Pirlo fired after failing to bring Juve a 10th straight Serie A title. They did finish 4th by the skin of their teeth, so they did get into the Champions League for next year. So we will see Ronaldo in the Champions League as long as he sticks around at Juventus. So interesting news there. As we said, a lot of coaches leaving, a lot of coaches looking for new positions. There are some positions out there. We know of the Tottenham one. We know of the Crystal Palace one. Crystal Palace really can't compare to Tottenham wage-wise, but it is an opening for the Premiership. Wolves as well. Gareth Bale considering retiring. I believe he still has 1, maybe 2 years left on his current contract at Real Madrid. Obviously, this past year he was on loan at Tottenham, earning $300,000 a week, and he's considering retiring. The guy came off the bench or didn't play most of the time. I don't know where this. He apparently put this out there that he's considering retiring, him and his management team. I don't believe it at all. I don't know who's going to retire when they could be earning £300,000 a week, or dollars a week, excuse me. No, it's not going to happen. He's going to play. He's going to see out that contract. He probably will not be at Real Madrid next year. He'll be sold, and he'll be somewhere else. His last game at Spurs this past weekend, he did score 2 goals to sink Leicester City's Champions League hopes. No one really saw that coming. Tottenham had nothing really to play for. Leicester had it all to play for. Bale comes in, scores 2 goals. Tottenham win 4-2 over Leicester City. Leicester City finished outside of the Champions League spots for the 2nd year in a row. Brendan Rodgers misses out on the Champions League again. Yeah, I mean, Chelsea fans were thanking Gareth Bale for this because Chelsea were losing to Aston Villa at Villa Park 2-1 at the time. And as I said, Gareth Bale comes on at the other game, scores 2 goals. Chelsea were scrambling. They couldn't do anything. Villa had them at 6s and 7s. Gareth Bale saves Chelsea's day. So Chelsea finished 4th in the Champions League spot for next year. They do not have to win the Champions League final today to get into the Champions League next year. They're already in. But, I mean, interesting news there on Gareth Bale. I don't think he'll retire. I think he's just floating it out there. Someone will pick him up. I want to quickly talk about, we do have the Champions League game we're going to talk about shortly here, but I want to talk to you about the bigger game today. Maybe I shouldn't use the word bigger, but richer game. The richest game in the world is being played today. Do you guys realize that? And it's not the Champions League final. No, there's not a World Cup final. It's the EFL playoff final. What you ask is the EFL playoff final. Well, in England, you've got the Premiership, and then you've got the next division down, which is the EFL. what happens is the three teams that get promoted to the Premiership. So at the end of the season, teams 1 and teams 2 get automatically promoted. Teams 3, 4, 5, and 6 go into a little playoff, and then the winning team out of those playoffs, out of those spots, comes up into the Premiership. Today, the final is being played at Wembley. I believe it's at noon Eastern time, and we have Swansea and Brentford playing. And as I said, this is the richest game in the world that's being played today. The winning team gets promoted to the Premiership and automatically gets over $180 million placed into their bank account. $180 million instantly. That is a lot of money. A lot of money. Swansea have been in the Premiership before. They know what it takes to get there. They know what it takes to stay there. Brentford have never been into the Premiership, and they're a very small club, so this is a huge, huge deal. I would love to see Brentford go ahead and win this and get into the Premiership. It would be fun to see them spend a little money, bring in some players, and then see what damage they can do in the Premiership. Again, now you're asking probably where does this $180 million come from? It's TV money. It's TV rights, right? NBC over here in America pay the Premiership a lot of money, and they get distributed around the club. So $180 million. Again, this is about 10 times the size of richness, of wealth compared to the Champions League. Although more people are going to watch the Champions League final, we know that. But keep your eye on that. Swansea, Brentford later today. Should be a fun game. I was there 2 years ago at the EFL Championship, the finals. Aston Villa played Derby County. We won 2-1. Brilliant day out. It's a lot of fun, and there's a lot of crying when your team doesn't get promoted, because now you're back in the EFL for another year, and it's a bit of a slog in that league. All right, let's jump into Champions League final, the big one for the day. Game kicks off later today, 3 o'clock Eastern time. For those of you in the Metro Detroit area, we will be down. We Are Soccer will be down at the Detroit City FC Fieldhouse. Come and join us. All the TVs will have the game on. We look forward to seeing you guys out there. We'll have some door prizes, so be sure to get down there in time for the game to start. Prizes are announced at halftime. All right, so where's the game happening today? It is in Portugal. Specifically, the venue is Estádio do Dragão in Porto. As I said, 3 o'clock kickoff. We got Man City and Chelsea. Two of the best teams for the year, the most informed teams towards the end of the year here. At the beginning of the year, both these teams are floundering in the Premiership. Lampard is heading up Chelsea. They weren't doing very well. Man City started out very poorly in the Premiership this past year and didn't get their act together till after Christmas. But then after that, they started flying. Man City, for me, these past 5 months, 6 months, have been the best team in the world. I do believe they will go on to win this game, but it's a final. And we know under Tuchel, who came in once Lampard was let go, they play a very defensive game. So it's very possible, because it's a final, it's going to be a close, caged type game. No one's going to want to give too much away. Tuchel is very defensive, as I said. It's going to be a very interesting game. Don't expect a lot of goals. 3-2 is probably the most I think we can hope for. I don't know, but a poll was put out by UEFA this past week on their Twitter account. Who fans in the world think are going to win. 58% of the votes went to Man City. The rest, 42, went to Chelsea. I do think, as I said, Man City take it. But here's some quick facts for you. So Mendy, the Chelsea goalkeeper, has kept 8 clean sheets in 11 Champions League games this season. 8 of 11. That's huge. He is, for not being the starting goalkeeper, I think he was actually 3rd choice at the beginning of the year. For him to do that is huge. 8 clean sheets is the most in a campaign by a goalkeeper for an English side in the history of the Champions League. So, yeah, Mendy has really come alive under Tuchel, and I think the whole defensive system that Tuchel's employed there has really helped. And also, this is the third time the two Premiership teams have reached the Champions League final. So some interesting news on that. Who do you guys think is going to be the most important player on the field? Is it going to be De Bruyne for Man City? Is it going to be Foden? Is it going to be Mendy, the Chelsea goalkeeper? What about N'Golo Kante, the guy who just keeps Chelsea's midfield ticking along? Ticking, ticking, ticking. He is so quick. Dude's like 5'6" and just a workhorse. Without him, Chelsea are terrible. We saw that last week, Chelsea at Aston Villa. Chelsea just couldn't seem to move the ball properly. They couldn't transition properly. N'Golo Kante, keep your eyes on him. Is it Gundogan? Is he going to be the most important player on the field today? Is it Pulisic? Is it Timo Werner? I mean, let's break down the teams a little bit here, shall we? All right, so Chelsea, I do not see... I see them starting out in their traditional Tuchel system of 3-4-3, 3 in the back, 4 in the middle, 3 up top. Timo Werner is going to be up top for sure. I don't see Pulisic starting. I do see Kovacic in the middle with Kante, and I do see Kai Havertz starting. And I'm basing this on previous games that Chelsea have played under Tuchel in the last couple of weeks. Pulisic has played. He's got some starts. He hasn't done, I don't want to say he hasn't done well, but he hasn't done as well as we know he can play. In the big game where Chelsea played Man City a couple of weeks ago in the Carabao Cup final, Kai Havertz started and did well. Pulisic came on later in the game. And I believe Havertz plays because I think Tuchel can trust him. Havertz is more defensive, tracks back, but also because Pulisic can be a game changer when he comes onto the field. If you want to bring a player on in the 60th, 65th minute to change the game, put another dimension to the game, and it's Havertz or Pulisic, Pulisic's the one to do that. Havertz isn't going to change the game, right? He's not going to come in and change the game and really give you a spark. Pulisic can. So we have two Americans playing in the game today. Zach Steffen on the Man City side, the backup goalkeeper, and Pulisic for Chelsea. Again, I don't see either one of them starting, obviously. I really don't see Pulisic starting. He'll come in and change the game. Who do we see in the middle with N'Golo Kante? I think it's going to be Kovacic. I'm not a Jorginho fan. I just don't see it happening. There doesn't seem to be a lot of connect with N'Golo Kante when those two are on the field. I do see it being Kovacic, but I've been wrong before on who starts and what happens. So we'll keep our eye on that. Again, Mendy and Thiago in the back there. I think those are going to be huge players. Up top, Timo Werner. I know Chelsea fans are not a huge fan of Timo Werner right now. But you got to keep your eyes on. He misses a lot of sitters, right? Balls that come into the 18-yard box. He should stick away into the back of the net. He doesn't, but he does a lot of the other work. He's a very good defensive forward. He makes those runs for teammates. He holds the ball up well. So for a team that's playing defensive and sitting back, and when they break out, he does a very good job of holding that ball up for his team to come into the game. He does a good job of getting the ball in the middle and distributing it wide, and then he gets back into his position up top. And I believe that's why Tuchel likes him. I know Chelsea fans are gonna hate me for saying this, but he is the best player to start there. You can't all of a sudden just start Giroud. And I don't even believe Tammy Abraham's on the bench. We won't know officially until later today, till the lineups come out around 2 o'clock. So big game, obviously. Chelsea, I think, the underdogs. It's going to be very close. The Man City team, I mean, they got a host of players. They play with no out-and-out striker. Aguero's been on the bench most of the year. Jesus now has been on the bench. Raheem Sterling's been on the bench. De Bruyne is more of a midfielder. This is the game that we all know the Man City owners want to win. This is their first European Cup final in the team's history, so the pressure is on them. Do we want to read anything into the first 3 times this year that Man City played Chelsea? Man City won the first one pretty easily. And then the next 2 is when Tuchel came in charge. One was in the league and the other was in the Carabao Cup final. Tuchel took those. I don't want to read very much into those 2 defeats that Chelsea had over Man City, because I believe Pep Guardiola was rotating his team and players heavily at the time. He didn't have his full set of players in there, and I think he was playing coy. I think he knew this could happen. So let's not read into that. There's a lot we could go into with those games, but let's not do that. Let's take today's game as it is. Kevin De Bruyne, for me, is going to be the player in the middle of the field for Man City. He's going to dictate how this team goes. We saw him do it in the semifinals for Man City. And also Ruben Diaz, it's just a stud of a player. He is going to be the one in the back line. Him and John Stones are just going to have to be on their toes, because in my opinion, as I said earlier, Chelsea's going to sit back. They're going to look to break out. And if Stones and Ruben Diaz are not ready, it could lead to goals for Werner and Kai Havertz. It's going to be interesting. We'll see what happens. I mean, fun game. Again, we're having a viewing party down at the DCFC Field House. Come down and join us. Doors are around 2 o'clock. We'll have some door prizes we'll hand out. Just lots of fun, low key. We're just watching the soccer game. You know, it's one of the biggest games in the world. Just for you American fans out there, we all know about the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl has about 350 to 400 million watch every year. The biggest game in the world, the Super Bowl, right? This game, the Champions League final, will have most likely around 1 billion to 1.5 billion watching. So, biggest game there is. Adam, will you be watching that game? All right. Big one, right? All right. What else we got on tap today after that? Why don't we talk about the Europa League that was played, Europa League final that was played this past week. I don't even know where to start with this. You've got Man United, who are, I think at this point, the 4th richest club in the world, playing against Villarreal, who nowhere to be seen on the list. Actually, they're so far back on the list, they can't even see the list. So you would expect a team of Man United's quality and the money that they have to go on and win this pretty easy. Some of us may or may not have put money on Man United to win this one easily. Yeah, maybe me. Lost money there because this was a game, I tell you. This went all 120 minutes. We'll just give you some quick highlights here. Parejo scored in the 29th minute against the run play. In the 55th minute, Cavani did what Cavani does. And he scores. It was a bit of a scrappy goal. United get back on level terms. But, you know, United from then kind of went on to dominate, as they did. They dominated possession. They put shots on. They just couldn't find a way through. So it took 120 minutes, 1-1 at the end of that time, and they went to penalties. And I've seen a lot of penalty kicks, a lot of penalty shootouts in my time, but I don't remember the last time I saw one that went as far as this. 10 players, each side, 10 goals. The goalkeepers, I think, out of each got their hands on 1, maybe 2 kicks, but they still went in the back of the net. I'll give you guys a little bit of a breakdown. I've been in penalty kick shootouts, and you tell your goalkeeper, listen, you're not going to save them all. We expect you to save 1, or at least put the kicker, the shooter off so he misses, just 1. We just ask you as a goalkeeper to save 1, please. Just get your hands to 1, keep it out of the net. The fact that these professional goalkeepers didn't save 1 is crazy. This went down to the 11th penalty kick taker. The goalie for each team. One of the things I've always said is goalies in training every week, what do? They actually shoot on each other. These guys are probably the best penalty kick takers you have on a team. I don't understand why more teams don't employ their goalkeepers to take the penalty kicks. With all that being said, the Villarreal goalkeeper slotted, upper 90. His was absolutely phenomenal, and De Gea had no chance. De Gea, the 11th penalty kick taker for United, needed to step up and convert his to continue the ongoing penalty kick takers, and his was saved. A bit of a soft penalty, and it was saved. So United lose on penalty kicks. United, I'm sorry, this is poor. This is just poor. You can see the highlight here. He struck it well. I'll give De Gea that. He struck it well, but it wasn't properly placed. And the Yellow Submarines go on and win the Europa League final. Not the greatest game in the world, if we're being honest, but those penalty kicks, if you haven't seen it, go ahead and take a look at the highlights for the penalty kicks. Unai Emery there lifting the trophy. Well done to him after being let go by Arsenal. So I don't know what to tell you, but I was very disappointed with that final. I was very much looking forward to it and very disappointed. So it is what it is. Not all games can be the greatest in the world. We're hoping today's Champions League final can be. We'll see. All right, let's move on, guys. We got local pro soccer brought to you by Detroit City FC. Detroit City FC, I believe Keyworth Stadium is opening back up to 100% on June 1st, so we're a couple of days away from there. So make sure you jump in and you get tickets for the upcoming games. I know I'll be buying season tickets because I love going out to watch DCFC men and women. So let's jump in about the men, right? So DCFC men, last game was last week. They drew 1-1 with the Michigan Stars. Cyrus Zadehi with the goal there. For all accounts, this is a bit of a tough game away at the Michigan Stars. The Detroit City FC supporters showed up en masse, did what they do, made it a fun game. The environment wasn't the greatest due to the Michigan Stars, but it is what it is. The next game for Detroit City FC men is this Wednesday at Keyworth Stadium against the LA Force, who come to town. Check to see if tickets are available on DebtCityFC.com. Snap them up, because if you want to go, tickets are going to go fast. DebtCityFC.com. The crowd will be back to 100%, as I said, so it's going to be a good time. Women. The women have been on a roll. I believe they're 3-0 now. They, last game, beat Corktown FC 3-0 down in Corktown in Detroit. Just dominated. Detroit City FC, the women's team, they're so good. So good. So fun. I was so surprised when I was out there last week that the level of skill, the work rate that these women have, I'm telling you right now, if you guys haven't been to a women's league game, get out there. It is exciting. I was really surprised at the level of skill and the work rate that these women have. So fun. Coach Sam Pirani got that women's team just purring along, man. 3-0 right now. They play again tonight. They play at home, Keyworth Stadium at 7:30. Game can be seen on TV 20 or streaming on YouTube. We'll share that link. Get in, watch that game if you can. I think there's some tickets still available. Get to that game tonight. You won't regret it. All right. We're going to jump into our youth soccer segment. We got some fun we're going to have here. The youth soccer segment is brought to you by the Michigan Jaguars. Michigan Jaguars FC, fun, family-friendly environment, great coaches, great academy. They have a setup over there. I'm telling you, they're one of the best youth clubs in the state of Michigan. Hell, they're one of the best youth clubs in the nation. Highly recommend them. My kids have gone through the junior JAG system with the Jaguars. Check them out, all right? MichiganJaguarsFC.com. Michigan Jaguars, I'm telling you, jump in, check them out. Before we jump in and start talking about, we got some clips we're going to show you on that, but before we do that, I want to bring up a situation that's been ongoing for the last couple of weeks. There's a young woman, I believe she's out in Oregon here. Her name is Olivia Moultrie. A judge ruled this past week the 15-year-old, yes, he listened to that again, 15 years old, Olivia Moultrie can compete. She actually took the NWSL, the National Women's Soccer League here in America. She took them to court. And I want to, so I don't get this wrong, I want to make sure I read it, so I apologize. I'm going to look down. A federal judge on Monday ordered that the National Women's Soccer League, the NWSL, ordered them to temporarily lift its age rule requiring players to be at least 18 years old, allowing 15-year-old prodigy Olivia Moultrie the opportunity to compete for a position on a professional team. The judge found that the age restriction violates federal antitrust law and would cause irreparable harm to Moultrie, who lives in Wilsonville and practices in scrimmages with the Portland Thorns. The Portland Thorns are the professional team. It's a big 15 years old, and I believe she played in a game with the Portland Thorns, a scrimmage, a practice game a couple of weeks ago against the U23 U.S. national team, and she held her own, apparently 15 years old, and she is doing really well. She can now go and compete against, go and join a full professional team as a 15-year-old. That's a huge, huge deal. So there's been a lot of talk on the We Are Soccer forums about this, on our Facebook group. This is a really big deal, and I love it. I think it's great. No matter what age, if you're good enough, you should play. Hell, if she's good enough, she could jump in and play in the MLS. That's a whole discussion for another day. But good for her. I hope she signs a professional contract if that's what she wants to do. Get her playing. Let's see. If she's not good enough, no one will pick her up. But obviously, she must be good enough as she's playing in practice games against the U.S. women's national team. So good for her. What's been happening in local youth soccer, you ask? Well, the Michigan State Cup, the quarterfinals and semis were last weekend. I saw a lot of games. The next weekend, the 5th and the 6th, the finals are up in Saginaw, Michigan. We Are Soccer will be there. So, boys and girls, if you guys are going to be playing in the finals, and I know a lot of the teams that are, keep your eyes out for us. We're going to be taking some videos. We're going to be up there doing some interviews. It's going to be a lot of fun. So put on your soccer boots and show us your magic, kids, because we're going to go up and watch. And we're going to do some clips, and then we're going to come back the following week and try to put some of that on the live show here. Speaking of magic, we got some clips for you to watch here. Go ahead, Adam, if we could. Could we show that first clip? This is Connor Allen. Watch this control. Off his thigh, bang, top corner. This is Connor Allen of the Novi 05 boys green team, the Novi Jags there. This was his second goal of the game and his team's 2-0 win over the Tigers in the quarterfinals. Ultimately, though, the 05 boys green team went on to lose on penalties to Midwest in the semifinal. I love this. Ball gets swung in, headed out. He takes it down on his thigh. One time, bang, top corner. Brilliant goal. Next clip we have is of Alex Diak from the 03 boys team. Watch this. Ball gets cleared out. Nice control. Boom. That's got to be about 25, 30 yards out. Brilliant goal there. I will say that his team advanced to the State Cup final with a 4-1 win over Vardar in this game, thanks in part to this goal here. So we'll be up there in Saginaw watching the final for Alex's 03 boys team. He is son of the Jags coach Dan Diak, who's a bit of a friend of mine. I love Coach Diak, former pro goalkeeper. Big guy, big goalie. Played a lot of big games back in the day. Last clip. This is an interesting one. This young man. This kid's a bit of a prodigy. This kid can play. We've got seven. He scored all 7 goals in this game for his team's 7-0 win over Lakeshore. Dude scores 7 goals in a game. I've played soccer for a lot of years, and I don't think I've ever scored 7 goals in a game. Dude's built and is quick, and what a nice touch he has. We just saw his first 3 goals in the game there, which was scored in the first 20 minutes. So looking forward to watching him and his team play next week in the state finals. So good luck to those teams in Michigan here competing in the State Cup finals. As I said, We Are Soccer will be up there next weekend watching. Should be a lot of fun. Speaking of youth teams, 2 weeks from this weekend, we have tryouts coming up. Kids, parents, do you know where you're trying out yet? Make sure you understand you got a little bit of a plan of where you're trying out. I want to give just some quick tips here. Kids, make sure you show up on time. Don't be late to try out. Show up with a ball. Show up with your boots tied. Be ready to go. When you're on the field, most likely what you're going to be doing is you're going to be doing some scrimmaging, maybe some one-on-ones. Just be confident on the ball. That's all you got to do. Be confident on the ball. Have fun. If you're having fun and you're confident on the ball, coaches will see your skill level and put you on an appropriate team. Parents, all right, tryouts can be stressful. I get it. Don't make it even more stressful on your kids. Don't force them to try out for a team that they're not going to make. You should know their skill level, all right? And if they don't make the A team, don't worry about it, okay? The clubs these days are set up in the right way that they'll find a team for your kid to play on. They'll progress your kid. Maybe he didn't have a great tryout, so maybe gets put on the C team or the B team. Over the next couple of weeks, couple of months, he'll progress. If it's pretty clear that he should be on the A team, they will move him to the A team. Trust me, the clubs these days, they have a good setup. As I said, the Michigan Jaguars club, they scout these kids all year long. They evaluate them properly. If they don't know your kid, they'll evaluate him properly at the tryouts. Trust me. I've been through the process myself. I've done evaluating. There are good coaches in place. They want the kids to succeed. You'll be all right. Parents, don't put pressure on your kids, all right? Just have fun. Let the kids have fun, all right? Before you head out to tryouts, I highly recommend you watch some of the clips that we have on our We Are Soccer channel, on the Facebook and on our YouTube. We've got some training clips from We Are Soccer and Next Level Training. Just, kids, 5 minutes a day for the next 2 weeks. I guarantee you're going to have more confidence on the ball. You're going to have a better touch. Adam, if we could we go ahead and show the Next Level Training clip? Watch this little clip by Aaron in Next Level Training. Just watch how confident he is on the ball and watch how he progresses through this little system that he has. Just go ahead and give it a watch. All right, so that was Aaron Bird in Next Level Training. If you couldn't tell, Aaron gets out there and plays, and there was some pros he was training with there. He did that little clip for us. He takes it very serious, and when he gets kids into his camp or into his training programs, he takes it very serious. He teaches the kids the fundamentals, the basics, and then he goes beyond. I highly recommend you guys sign up for his camps. All right, get your kids into his camps this summer. Again, Aaron doesn't like to drop a lot of the big names that he trains, but there are people like Kellen Acosta who just got called into the U.S. men's national team 40-man training camp, who's a good friend because he's trained with Aaron and the Next Level Training. Get out there, sign up for those camps. I'm going to be out there at some of those camps watching because some of the pros that he brings in, that Aaron and his team bring in to help, they're just awesome people to watch. And I love watching kids play soccer and learn and try to progress. You need to visit Next Level Training's website. Sign up for those camps. Sign up early because spots go quick. All right. All right. Something I'd like to kind of bring in new is we got some awards I kind of want to hand out for the EPL. The EPL is obviously probably the most popular league in the world. I know you guys watch it. I watch it heavily. So let's just quickly go through, now that the season ended last weekend, let's just go through and give out some quick awards. This is what we at We Are Soccer have dubbed the EPL We Are Soccer Awards. So, Player of the Season. There are a lot of players that could have had this, right? A lot of strikers, a lot of goals, some midfielders that really stood out, some great goalkeepers as well. This year, we've decided to give it to a defender. So who do you think? We may have mentioned him earlier. That's right, Ruben Diaz. This dude is a beast. This dude, actually, Diaz could have won 2 or 3 of the awards on our list, but we're going to give him Player of the Year. I believe he was the official EPL Player of the Year as well. Just first year in the Premier League and goes on and does that. He is another reason why I think Man City go on to beat Chelsea today because of him. That Man City haven't had presence and leadership like that since Vincent Kompany in his prime. Well done, Ruben Diaz. So you are the EPL Player of the Year from We Are Soccer. Manager of the Year. Sure, Pep Guardiola did a great job winning. Klopp, not so great this year. There are a lot of other good managers. Dean Smith for Villa took them to a good finish. But for me, Manager of the Season has to be David Moyes. I don't think anybody saw the level that he was going to have West Ham play out. There were actually several pundits who had West Ham getting relegated before the season started based on the squad. I think David Moyes did an absolutely phenomenal job with the squad that he had in place. Now they finished. They're competing in Europa next year. They've got some money. Hopefully they can go out and buy some players to fill some needs. I believe one of the signings of the season, although it's a loan signing, Jesse Lingard, David Moyes brought Jesse Lingard in from Man United on loan, and an absolute peach of a signing, right? He also had Souček playing at such a high level. David Moyes, congratulations, Manager of the Season at West Ham for us at the We Are Soccer. Signing of the season. This, at the beginning of the transfers last summer, there were a lot of good ones in the Premiership. We could have, Ruben Diaz could have actually won this, but I think Ruben Diaz could have won it. Lingard could have won it. Those players made real big differences at their clubs. But for me, and a little bit of a homer here, I get it on this one, but without Aston Villa signing Emiliano Martinez, I don't think Villa finish where they finish. I think they finish very poorly in the league if it's not for this goalkeeper. Arsenal, what were you doing letting this man go? You kept Leno over Martinez? You let him go for £24 million to Aston Villa. That, Arsenal, shame on you. Aston Villa did an absolute, phenomenal job scouting, bringing him in, and he kept 15 clean sheets this year. 15 clean sheets this year. That is stunning, right? Without him, Aston Villa don't finish where they finished in the league. And I hope he stays at our club for years to come. Goalkeeper of the season there. Goalkeeper of the season, signing of the season, just absolutely brilliant. All right, last one, goal of the season. Actually, a bit of a tie on this one. I couldn't decide. Really, really enjoy Eric Lamella's Rabona against Arsenal. What a goal that was. Who tries a Rabona and it goes through 2 people's legs into the back of the net? He's done it before, the Rabona. Eric Lamela he's got this skill down. Great goal, but I'm not sure if I couldn't pick between the two, so I went with a tie for Lamela's Rabona and Alisson's header for Liverpool. The gravity of the situation of this game. Let me read something here. So, first Liverpool goalkeeper to ever score a goal, the 6th Premiership goalkeeper to ever score a goal, and the first Premiership goalkeeper to score a goal with his head. And I believe this was in the 94th minute against West Bromwich Albion. What a goal this was. If you put a gun to my head, I would say this is probably a better goal because of the gravity of the situation. And it ultimately saved Liverpool's Champions League hopes, which Liverpool ended up, grabbing that grabbing that spot and getting up into there, into that Champions League spot. So brilliant goal, just absolutely brilliant goal. So was the Rabona, just the skill involved. All right, let's talk about something that's coming up in 2 weeks. That's going to take a lot of it's going to take a lot of airtime on We Are Soccer coming up this summer, especially June 11th through July 12th. What am I talking about, you might ask? The Euros. Come on, the Euros. Everybody loves watching the Euros. Obviously, due to the pandemic, the 2020 Euros are now being played this year in 2021. So starting June 11th, that's a Friday, there will be one game that day. And then June 12th, the majority of the games, and June 13th is when all the teams will kick off and head through, the final being played on July 11th. Right now, teams have named their 33-man provisional squads, but all teams need to cut down that number to 26 for their full squad within the next week and a half here. Favorites to win the tournament are France, Belgium, England, and Germany. I would love to see England win it. Would absolutely love to see England win it. I just don't see that happening. They'll do what England usually do, and they'll lose in the semis and penalties. Maybe the quarters. Hopefully just the semis. But they are joint favorites with France to win. But those four, France, Germany, England, and Belgium, the top favorites. It's going to be fun. All the games are on ESPN and ESPN Plus. This week, we'll talk more in the next 2 weeks about the full 26-man squads. We'll be doing some side videos on the We Are Soccer channel on those squads and the players that missed out and the players that got included. So be sure to watch those small videos. ESPN actually this week put out their studio analyst list. So we'll just run down the guys and girls who will be calling these games for ESPN. It's kind of, I don't say funny, but it's interesting to me. Rhys Davis, he's the ESPN normal guy, so he'll be back. Kelly Cates, she's actually a UK television and radio host. Very nice voice. That's a good choice there. Steve McManaman, former England international player, played for Real, played for Liverpool. I really like Steve McManaman, the way he breaks games down, the little insights he can bring. Played at a top level for many years, so I think it's a good addition there. And here's a funny one. Alessandro Del Piero is on the ESPN analyst list. Former national team player. He played in more than 90 games for Italy, scored 27 goals, and played 19 seasons with Juventus. I think he can bring a lot of insight. So I'm looking forward to hearing Alessandro Del Piero and his analysis on games and the way he breaks it down. Julie Foudy. She's an ESPN regular. I like her. She breaks it down. Tim Howard, former American goalkeeper, also played in England for a couple of years for Man United, but majority of the years there for Everton. I like that. I like that, Tim Howard. He brings some insight. He's doing a lot of work for NBC at the moment. He brings a little bit of insight from the goalkeeper position, so that's nice to see. So as you see, we've got Del Piero, who played forward and midfield. We've got Steve McManaman, who is a midfielder. We got Tim Howard, who is a goalkeeper. And then Chris Coleman, former manager, the former manager of Wales from 2012-2017. I really enjoy listening to Chris Coleman talk. I think this is a great hire for ESPN. I think he's going to put some real nice analysis to the broadcasts. Another nice one, Sami Khedira. Didn't see this one popping up on the list. So newly retired, former World Cup winner with Germany, played many years across many different teams. Good. I've never heard him talk as an analyst, so it's going to be fun. I like Khedira as a player. We'll see what kind of insight he brings. Craig Burley. We've seen him do analysis before. I don't want to be mean, but he just seems to be sad every time he's on air, and his analysis is sad. I don't know. He just seems like he's depressed. He needs to cheer up. I think it would bring a lot more to his commentary and a lot more to his analysis. So cheer up, dude. It's soccer we're watching. Come on, man. And this is a really interesting one. So we've got goalkeepers, we've got midfielders, we've got managers. There was a forward in there. What are we missing? A referee. Mark Clattenburg. Mark Clattenburg, VAR expert for ESPN. I can see him getting a lot of work in games with VAR. Obviously, we know the controversies that happened with VAR in the past couple of years. It will be used, obviously, in the Euros. So when a situation happens and VAR is going to be used, from the ESPN side, the game side, talking to the viewers, Mark Clattenburg is going to be the one explaining it. Let me just read off Mark Clattenburg. He's a Premier League referee, English Premier League referee, for 292 matches. He reffed in the 2016 Euro final, the 2016 UEFA Champions League final, and the 2016 FA Cup final. Dude's got experience. And I've seen him ref many a time. I actually like him. I think he's a very good referee. He makes some mistakes like all referees do, but a very good referee. I think it's a great hire. I love that ESPN's bringing in a guy of his quality. And he's young. He's still in his mid-40s, I believe, maybe late 40s. Very good hire there for ESPN. So very, very happy to see that. All right, guys, there's just so much soccer happening. I tried to pick out the best bits from the week and the best bits moving forward. Don't forget, tonight we've got DCFC women's team playing at Keyworth Stadium. If you can't get to the game, it's on TV 20 here in Metro Detroit or streaming on the YouTube channel. I'll share those links on We Are Soccer later. DCFC men at home on Wednesday. Stadium back to 100% capacity. Get your tickets now. If you can't get tickets and can't get to the game, TV 20 and streaming on the YouTube channel. We'll share those links. Champions League final today. One of the biggest games in the world, right? Watch that game. Kids, if you're watching, pick a player, pick a position, watch the game, try to see what that player does, see how he moves with the ball, without the ball. Get ready for tryouts that are coming up in 2 weeks. Start watching the next level training and the We Are Soccer training drills that we have. Get ready. Don't just start preparing a day before. Start preparing a week, 2 weeks ahead for tryouts. Get out to tryouts. If you're not sure where tryouts are, do some Google searches. If you're in the Metro Detroit area, there's a lot of good teams who are holding tryouts. As I said, my kids go to the Michigan Jaguars. I love their organization. I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of a lot of the other organizations here in the Metro Detroit area as well. There's not bad teams, all right? Get out, play, get your kids signed up to play soccer, one of the best sports in the world, and it never ends, right? As we just talked about, one of the biggest games in the world happening today. And in 2 weeks, we've got the Euros starting. And there's so much soccer. Women's soccer, we got the Olympics playing this summer. So much soccer going on. So I think we have to wrap it up for now, guys. It's been fun this morning. I want to say a big thank you to Woodward Sports. Thank you, guys. Check Woodward Sports out on the social media channels. Download their app. You can watch our show through their app. Big thank you to Adam behind the scenes. I'm not going to see Adam next week because he's off on getting married. So Adam, shout out to you, buddy. Congrats. Enjoy your honeymoon as well. Appreciate all the hard work you do behind the scenes for us. He makes the magic happen. Thank you to our friends at Detroit City FC, Michigan Jaguars, Tim Merritt at Ross Mortgage, Family Superior Dental, and Aaron and his next level training team. Very much appreciate the support you guys give our show. Thank you again. You guys are awesome. Do me a favor, subscribe and like all the We Are Soccer social channels. Give our friends a like and a subscription too. Really appreciate it. And for now, we're signing off until next time, until next week. Cheers, guys.